Bi-ism Allah, in the name of Allah the Almighty, the Benevolent, the Merciful, the Most Kind, the Most Loving, we begin. In the name of the Unnamed, the Formless, the All-Encompassing, the One who resides in all, the One without a makan. And peace and blessings be upon the Prophet, peace be upon him, the beloved of the Almighty, the beloved of the beloved, and blessings upon the family of the beloved. And today, special blessings and peace upon the soul of our guide, our master, Mawlana Jalaluddin Rumi. May Allah preserve his secret, and may this gathering be a means of grace upon all those in attendance and all those who are absent, and wherever the beloved is remembered, the presence is present. So let us consciously be aware of the presence of the one we remember today on the Urs, or the death anniversary, or the wedding anniversary of Jalaluddin Rumi. We thank and give gratitude to everyone who is coming to this space. Today's program will consist of basically a sharing, a telling. This space is not about an academic sort of understanding of the path. It is not about any sort of formal learning. It's about the way of experience. This path is about how love comes into our life and teaches us, and we share and we capture states. And we're in the space and we see everyone as teachers, as guides. So we're here to learn and to share and to be and to do. Today is the 17th of December, also synonymous for the Urs, Shab-e Arus of Mawlana Jalaluddin Rumi, the Persian poet who is considered to be the greatest gift to humanity. And in honor, or an attempt to honor that love and that connection that most of us feel and most hearts connect to, we are here today gathering in that space, in that love, in that remembrance. And we will be having all here from our Divaan share something that they feel could be an anniversary gift to the soul of Jalaluddin Rumi, an offering. And we look forward to this opening. Perhaps a moment of silence just to recollect and remind ourselves of why we're here, and to be cognizant of presence. until the video that we're going to be having as an opening is ready, we will share a poem of Jalaluddin Rumi. Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshipper, lover of leaving, it doesn't matter. Ours is not a caravan of despair. Come, even if you have been broken, even if you have broken your vows 1,000 times, come yet again, come, come. This is an open mic, and this is not a time to hold back. So please, by all means, unmute yourself and share, as permission is for all.
Tina, can I share a poem? This is called, oh, I lost it. Never mind. I can't seem to find it. It was there, and then when I was gonna share it, it disappeared.
I'd like to share something. Okay. When I die, I hope that it will feel like running into the arms of an old friend, looking into their eyes, smiling and saying, "It's so nice to see you again." Like children holding hands and running in the field, like picking flowers and blowing on daffodils. When I die, I hope that it will feel like vanilla ice cream melting in a warm cup of coffee, slowly and deliciously, butter on pancake, marshmallow and hot chocolate. Is there a better pair? I don't mean to glorify death, but I'm not so sure if it's something to be afraid of or grieved. And I've had my share of tears and fears. I've cried my eyes out for a friend I imagined had died. So many decisions I made to somehow escape death. But thinking of Rumi in union with his beloved, I can think of nothing sweeter than that.
We will be having the video of Konya from Hattis's trip.
Well, it's clear here. One second. I understand. You know, that's it's so pretty.
Okay.
I found the poem. I'd love to share. This is called A Call to Rumi. O beloved who knew no other, remove us from veils that cover, from seeing their nur still, by ever mention in every word, by every mention of your words, you are closer than sight fathoms. Let us be fearless of phantoms, let us embody the way of love, claim poverty towards the one. Let our shame be his conversation, let shamelessness be the way, when reciting love, when whirling trance, when holding hands, when breaking apart. Return us to start, leave behind I, a fortress growing inside thy breast. None can touch what you've sought. Never bought, yet left behind. This abandonment strolling you, stippling, ripping you out of your chest. Marvel at what's in thy hands. Not seek the other, not even your left one. Give and give as you receive by simply being here. Deranged, they say. Thoughts you can't deny, you as who determines what stays, what does not serve, not being in the herd, nor attacking, rather retracting, allowing, surrendering.
Thank you, May. Now in our program we have we're going to just be going over the life of Maulana Rumi. Is the background music okay? Is it a bit loud? Are you all able to hear it? Both the speaker and the music? Okay. Shab-e Arus. Known in Persia as Jalaluddin Rumi, al-Balkhi, and in the West as Rumi. He was born on September 30th, 1207, in the Balkh province of Afghanistan on the eastern edge of the Persian Empire. Mawlana Rumi descended from a long line of Islamic jurists, theologians, mystics, and people of grace, including his father, who was known by followers of Rumi as Sultan of the Scholars. His father led their family more than 2,000 miles west to avoid the invasion of Genghis Khan's armies. They settled in present-day Turkey, where Rumi lived and wrote most of his life. Significant meetings. Attar, during his early years, his father led their family for more than 2,000 miles west to avoid the invasion of Genghis Khan's armies. They settled in present-day Turkey, where Rumi lived and wrote most of his life. The two oceans meet. There is little evidence of whether Maulana Jalaluddin Rumi met the spiritual giant Ibn Arabi. However, historical records state that when Rumi was a child visiting Syria with his father, meeting Ibn Arabi, the latter said, "Praise be to God, an ocean walking behind a lake." During the years when Ibn Arabi was living in Damascus, Maulana went there to study for several years, but there is still no information about this meeting. Shams, the eternal sun. In 1244, Rumi met Shams Tabriz, who had taken a vow of poverty. Their meeting is considered a central event in Rumi's life, and Rumi believed his real poetry began when he met Shams. They were close friends for about 4 years. Over the course of that time, Shams was repeatedly driven away by Rumi's jealous disciples, including one of Rumi's sons, Alauddin. In December of 1248, Shams again disappeared. It is believed that he was either driven away or killed. Rumi left the madrasa in search of his friend, traveling to Damascus and elsewhere. Eventually, Rumi made peace with his loss, returning to his home. Rumi's mourning for the loss of his friend led to the outpouring of more than 40,000 lyrical verses, including odes, eulogies, quatrains, and other styles of Eastern Islamic poetry. The resulting collection, Divaan Shams Tabriz, or Divan Kabir, is considered one of Rumi's masterpieces and one of the greatest works of Persian literature. The Mathnawi. For the last 12 years of his life, beginning in 1262, Rumi dictated a single 6-volume poem to his scribe, Hussam Shalabi. The resulting masterwork, the Mathnawi, a Ma'nawi, consists of 64,000 lines and is considered Rumi's most personal work of spiritual teachings. Rumi described the Masnavi as the roots of the roots of the roots of the religion, and the text has come to be regarded by some Sufis as the Persian language Quran. The Shab-e Arus. Rumi fell ill and died or passed on the 17th of December in 1273 in Konya, Turkey. His remains were interred adjacent to his father, and the Yesil Turbe, the green tomb, was erected over the final resting place. The night of December 17th is the solar anniversary of the death of Jalaluddin Rumi, who passed in 1273. The observation of the anniversary of a Sufi saint is called in Arabic urs, which means wedding, because the saint is believed to have attained union or utmost nearness together with other saints, prophets, and most of all with God, the most and the only beloved. The urs of a Sufi saint is normally celebrated according to the Islamic lunar calendar, according to which Rumi died on the 5th of Jamad al-Thani, 672 al-Hijri, occurring next to the preceding evening of April 15th. However, most popularly, it is celebrated on the 17th. The path with the guide. Whoever travels without a guide needs 200 years for a 2-day journey. The Sufi is the one who gives allegiance to the guide, so to be guided, and this is the path. Shams's lesson to Rumi we learn through association. Sohbat, or association, is primary, not books. It is through love and association of the beloveds, of the Almighty, that all lessons are transmitted and all learning takes place. Seek the friend of the friend. The Mevlevi order. Through an authorized guide, the seeker is initiated into the order which leads to Mawlana Jalaluddin Rumi and to the path. The connection varies, however, there is a formal initiation that takes place, and that is through the initiation. I'm just going to share a few words before we conclude on this. In summary, the meeting of the two oceans, or otherwise known as the Shams Rumi phenomena for many, this is the path of mirrors. Meeting with Shams, the mirror of your soul. Meeting of two oceans. Ruination, a mandatory prerequisite of the path. Alignment through Shams, the mirror. There is only one reality. Alignment leads to being and doing. Doing is worship. It is your calling. It is your work. Devotion, service, and the path of the heart is the path of the love. It is the path of love. And in regards to outpourings, what has become of you? Love is the alchemical change of one's entire existence. Love places us in our true potential. All that is now coming through you is a byproduct of love. This is our pathway home. And I conclude with that. The reason why I had to do a reading through an older presentation I had prepared through an event that myself and Madiha did in Canada was just to provide some sort of structure. As normally I get off track and can go into different tangents. Hence, that was not my usual style of, reading something. So I apologize first to myself for that sort of pathetic narration.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
It was heartfelt.
No, just sort of like a gist. It was just a gist. That's not how we learn. Once again, floor is open, and today we're welcoming everyone to basically Rumi is for everybody, right? We cannot claim him for ourselves or any particular path or people. Maulana Rumi represents the heart of humanity. He is the Muhammadan heart. He's the beautiful mirror that reflects realities of the collective, of the individual. And so relatability and finding your voice through the poems and the outpourings of Rumi is something most people throughout the centuries have been able to connect to. Rumi is the most popular poet in the West. The works, any book on the poems of Rumi are the most sold out. Shakespeare is basically in the back burner, respectfully. And the words of Rumi are not limited to Rumi. Anyone who connects to Rumi will find the voice of Rumi coming through them. So do not seek Rumi as an idol, you know, as a person of history who is equally present today, but find the Rumi within yourself and find the voice of Rumi within all. You will find, where you find Rumi, you find Shams. Because technically the reality of Rumi manifested in its full potential when Rumi became one. And when you become one, there is no two. And hence the historical account of disappearance could be symbolic and literal at the same time. When there is no duality, you're not seeing Shams anymore, and there is just Rumi, because he is now one with the beloved, with his teacher, with his guide, with his friend, with the dost. And hence, finding the Shams is finding Rumi is finding Shams. What is finding, it's basically finding yourself. So this path of spirituality is the path of seeking yourself. And you are seeking yourself through the mirror or through the mirrors. And ultimately, the path of mirrors is designed only to bring you back to yourself. And then when you come back to yourself, you're basically at home with the ultimate reality. And so that's probably one of the, that's the common ground that brings our Divaan together. Women who have experienced this sort of mirroring effect through the other, and then traversing and, you know, being on this path of the heart through mortal love, and going deep in that love as a means of effacing oneself, and equally being, can't speak for everyone, I can't speak for myself either, but that sort of love that destroys you and your sense of you is what brings a lot of us here in our monthly poetic Divaan. It's an ongoing journey. It's a journey of unveiling, a constant unveiling. It's a journey of learning through the medium of the heart. And so we pen, and this path, this Divaan is connected legitimately to the heart of Maulana Jalaluddin Rumi, because we have initiation into this path. We have been initiated into the path, and hence an appliance that is sitting on a shelf yet not plugged in is not technically working. So the initiatic sort of practice of being plugged in means that there is a constant flow of energy, a constant flow of grace, and coming through various masters and pathways, but equally through the beautiful, illuminous being, Jalaluddin Rumi. And hence, we grow through this space, we ascend, we go downwards, we hit walls, and we can't really say we drown. Hopefully, we would be able to be people who not just enter the ocean, but become one with the ocean. And that is all for now. Anyone else is welcome to share anything that is coming into their heart.
May I love the way love deserves to be. May not the destruction love causes make us weary and turn away, for it's inevitable, it will catch up anyway. Love is the settler, colonial, Occident, Orient, imperial, supreme. This is not a contest, it's the conquest of love. Love being the guitar, the drum, the bomb, the bombing, the martyr, the witness, the broken, the breaker, the soul, the sign, the symbol, the signifier. Don't dry the eye, let tears flow. Let the salt of life imbibe the umbilical, the rope of love, to remember love, the tears of separation, the depth of ocean, the master, the ship, the disciple, the devotion, transformation, the Shams, the Rumi, the confines of flesh, the limitlessness of soul, marvel in all states, the inducer of state, surrender in all is staged. Love is the only gateway home.
Thank you, Father.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Can you hear me? Can you hear me all?
Yes.
You can hear me. You can hear me also now? Yes. Okay. So I found out a very important issue, the story of the name in the Masnavi. It was something that I was searching in the last days because especially this story about the name, because this is the most important symbol for us. So I would like to share it. I read it for you. The name flute that is mentioned in Rumi's stories in fact represents the perfect man, Insan-i Kamil. The stages a reed goes through from the reed bed to becoming a nai portrays the maturation of a human being, a representation of the steps of purifying the nafs, lower self, and refining the heart. In the same way that the nai is severed from the reed bed, and this separation causes it to lament in pain, the perfect man who has come from the realm of souls and enters a body made out of clay, known as a cage made of flesh, yearns for the original realm. Through this yearning, a human being goes through ascetic discipline, riyada, meditation, muraqabah, reflection, tafakkur, divine love and tribulations until he reaches maturity and finds perfection. The nail that is removed from the reed bed is carefully cut by the craftsman. Then the inside is removed and the reed is left to dry. Later, holes are burned through and rings are placed at the top and bottom. After being left in this state for some time, when the nail scene breathes into it, the nail starts to send out beautiful sounds as well as wonder and wisdom in accordance with the listener's spiritual level. A human being goes through similar stages on the path of perfection. Perfect men are chosen from among other men according to certain criteria. One of the most important attributes of the prophets is that they are chosen. They are cleansed of mortal bonds and preoccupations through various methods of nurturing. On the path of special religious training, which is called Seir or Suluk, they face hardships, misfortunes, and trials, which are necessary to gain patience, and they mature by following the path of revelation. Finally, they become instruments in which Allah's art, wisdom, and might are manifested. People yield to the spiritual wisdom that emanates from them, and they start to proceed in the direction of unity with the beloved. So it's a part of this article from a Turkish man, the story of the May in the Masnavi. So I just want to read one more. The Prophet entrusted a drop of the ocean of secrets and wisdom that had been bestowed upon him by Allah Almighty to Ali radiallahu an, who is known as the Gate of Knowledge, strictly warning him not to reveal these secrets. Ali radiallahu an could not bear what had been entrusted to him and was crushed by its great weight. He took to the desert. He revealed what he had kept inside him down in a black well. In time, the well flowed with water. Reeds started to grow in the water that overflowed from the well. A shepherd, realizing that these reeds made beautiful sounds when the wind blew through them, cut one and made a neigh. The sound coming from this neigh is so heartfelt and emotional that everyone fell in love with the deep, poignant and soulful tunes. They started loving and crying at the sound. Soon, this shepherd's reputation spread, and the Arab tribes started to gather around to listen to him. So here I want to finish because it goes ahead, but what I think that we can learn from this is that we are not separated. We are if we are in tune with the one.
Thank you, Hatis. Maria, would you like to share?
Yeah. Assalamu alaikum. In your life, I learn in your beauty how to make poems. You dance inside my chest where no one sees you. But sometimes I do, and that side becomes the. Thank you. I'm an the dancing dervish. I'm so happy to be here with you. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. Would you be able to maybe recite that one more time?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
We can. It was just
Yeah.
slightly cutting, but I've shut off the audio sound.
Okay. In your light, I learn how to love. In your beauty, how to make poems. You dance inside my chest where no one sees you. But sometimes I do, and that sight becomes this art. Thank you.
So perhaps I could continue where Alicia's telling was basically ending. I would like to read a bit from The Wedding Night. This is a text by Ibrahim Gamard, and it's called Rumi's Wedding Night. The night of December 17th is the solar anniversary of the death of Jalaluddin Rumi. And the observance of the anniversary of a Sufi saint is called Urs, which means wedding. The Urs of a saint or a Sufi is normally celebrated according to the lunar calendar, just like Alicia mentioned. But due to westernization, we usually celebrate it now on the solar calendar date. In Turkey, it's called the Shebi Arus, or the wedding night. In Persian, it would be Shabe Arusi. But this is an unfamiliar term in Iran, and the celebration of the anniversaries have not been practiced there. Many Sufi gatherings of various kinds will be mentioning the name of this saint on this night, praying that the blessings of God be upon his soul, and celebrating his wedding night by whirling prayer, Jisama, of the Mevlevi order, with recitation of his poetry and with Sufi prayer, chanting Zikrullah, remembrance of God. The following is a summary and partial translation from the hagiography of Rumi, called the Manaqibul Arifin, the glorious talents and abilities of the knowers of God, chapter 3, section 579. And this is written in Persian by Shamsuddin Ahmed Aflaki, who died 1353. And he relates that when Maulana died, when he was on his deathbed, he quoted the following verse from the Quran. Do as you're commanded, for you will find me, God willing, among those who are patiently submitting. He asked for a basin of water in which he put his feet, and from time to time rubbed water on his chest and forehead and recited some poetry. Then some minstrels came in and sang this quatrain of Rumi's in bitterness of the coming separation. My heart bears suspicion towards you when far away from you. That is also because of its weakness which it bears when far away from you. There is bitterness in the mouth of every bitter-hearted person. Sugar itself bears a grudge towards you when far away from you. And here's the Persian transliteration, but I'm not sure if I should attempt that for fear of, blaspheming gravely. After this poem was sung, those who were present wailed and wept. Maulana responded, "Yes, it is just as my friends are saying. But if the house is being destroyed, what's the benefit of wailing and weeping? My friends are drawing me to this side, and Hazrati Maulana Shamsuddin, who's Shamsi Tabriz, is calling me to that side." He quoted the verse, "Respond to God's summoner and believe in him," from the Quran. He then told his son, Sultan Walad, to go lay his head down to get some rest, for the latter had been sleepless and sobbing constantly. When his son had put his head down, Maulana composed his last poem to console him. And here it comes. Go lay your head on the pillow and sleep. Leave me to be alone. Leave me to be ruined, night wandering and afflicted. I'm alone with a wave of passion from night until day. If you wish, come with mercy. If you wish, go and be harsh. Escape from me so that you may not also fall into affliction. Choose the path of safety and shun the path of affliction. With the tears of my eyes, I've crawled into the corner of sorrow. Grind the mill hundreds of times upon the tears of my eyes. For me, there is an oppressor who has a heart like a hard rock. He kills, and nobody tells him to arrange payment of the blood price. For the king of the beautiful-faced ones, loyalty is not necessary. But you be patient and faithful, O sallow-faced lover. Is it a pain for which there is no remedy except to die? So how can I ask this pain be cured? Last night I dreamed of an elder in the lane of love. He gestured to me with his hand. Make your aim to come to me. Give me a second. I'll continue in a few. It is a pain for which there is no remedy except to die. So how can I ask that this pain be cured? Last night I dreamt of an elder in the lane of love. He gestured to me with his hand. Make your aim to come to me. If there is a dragon on the road, love is like an emerald which will blind it. Drive away the dragon with the green flash of this emerald. If there's a dragon on the road, love is like an emerald. Drive away the dragon with the flash of this emerald. Stop, since I'm losing myself. If you're a man of abundant knowledge, recite the history of so-and-so and admonish so-and-so. Sometime during the night after composing this poem, Maulana died. It was the night of December 17th, 1273, Sunday, the 5th of the Islamic lunar month, Jumad al-Akhir, in 672. And the text continues, but I think I'll end it here for time's sake.
Let us recite Fatiha. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahmanir-Rahim. Maliki yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. I'd like to share something. Few poems, and we ask everyone here to bring anything that they feel that they would like to share apart from someone else's poem, or perhaps something that they have composed themselves. No explanations. When you experience yourself, there are no explanations or unnecessary apologies. This you with you is as real as it gets. So to know you through you, you must meet you in many forms, unveiling you to you unapologetically, pure transparency, where light and dark unify. The eye seeks itself. The eye seeks itself, I know nothing but glance. The glance of a beloved is the wine of heaven. Be drunk in this dance. As I keenly watch the soul dance, my spirit caressed by love's fire reminded me of home. I silently read her words, indeed I am the reed, as so she is, yearning to return back to source. Remember that whatever you wish to share is your gift, so let us be generous in sharing these gifts and giving gifts. Maybe we can transition into some of the byproducts. We have here in our Divaan May, who was here just a few moments ago, and she recently was in Konya, and so she made her visit. She's been there a few times, and I was thinking to have something from her, but Maybe Madiha, because I know you went last year or the year before, correct? You want to share some impressions of your visit? Whatever.
Something you said earlier, Alicia, about how Rumi is for everyone. And on my way to Konya, I had this like delusional dream that I would be sitting there in Rumi's shrine by myself, having like a heart-to-heart conversation with just me and Rumi being there. And when I reached there, I had no idea to the extent of this celebration and how people from all over the world come to celebrate Rumi. And there were so many people there. There was hardly any place for me to, you know, even sit. I had to like go all the way back. And I realized how many people there are who just love Rumi and connect with Rumi. And it was heart opening for me. And every person I saw there, I felt like there was a soul recognition. I felt like I knew everyone there at some level, which was really, it was a surreal experience. Yeah.
Thank you. Hatis, would you like to grace us with anything from your visit, of your sort of experience with Jalaluddin Rumi? You would have
mute and then. Oh, but the micro is not working, I guess. This? It's working. Oh, yes. So, my experience with Jalaluddin Rumi was when I was 13 years old. I have got a small figure from my father, very small, like 3 centimeter. It was a whirling dervish, and I was asking myself this time, who is this wonderful person having this beautiful coat, having a head cover like this, what he is doing with his hand up to the sky and his hand down on to the earth. I didn't know the symbolic behind, but I was always looking this whirling dervish and asking myself, who could be this whirling dervish? And later, when I started to read books about Islam and Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and also about Jalaluddin Rumi, because I read a lot of books about from Anima Rishima. She was an Orientalist and the first woman at the university, teaching at the university in Ankara or Istanbul. I don't know exactly where, but she was the first woman teaching there. So I understood who was this whirling dervish that I have seen when I was 13 years old. Anima Rishime came to Innsbruck to talk about Sufism, and my Arabic teacher in this time I started to learn Arabic because I wanted to read, to know the letters, because I already was starting to write Allah, Allahu Akbar and several things because I was loving the letters. So he invited me to this lecture from Annie Marie Schimmel. And after this, we went to dinner, to have a dinner together with Annie Marie Schimmel and a professor for business of the university in Innsbruck, because he was always for this course of Hazratli Mevlana Jalaluddin Rumi in Konya on 17th of December. And on this dinner, and when we were sitting together, he asked me if I know about this festival in Konya, and I told him no, I don't know about it, but maybe one day I could go there to join this course and this festival for the day that Jalaluddin Rumi passed away. And he advises me the time to read also several books. So I started to go deeper in that, inside this, and when I was divorced from my first husband, he traveled to Turkey with our son Danilo. He was 3 years at that time, and they have passed also in Konya. And they brought me a book about Mawlana Jalaluddin Rumi and the Whirling Dervishes, and also a ney flute. So from this time on, many things happened that I went deeper into this, also in this order, because I have known a Turkish, half Turkish, half Austrian, who was in the Mevlevi order. And I tried to start to learn the ney flute, but I not really could reach out. In 2004, finally, I could travel to Konya many years, maybe 20, 30 years, 20 years for sure. I could travel to Konya for this course on 17th of December, and I have been there for 4 days and made documentation. There was the opening of the Congress Center in Konya. It looks like a pyramid from outside from marble, but inside there is a circle where they also make their dance. And this video that I would like to show before was from this time, 2004, when I was there for the opening of this Congress Center in Konya. And yes, this is my way, how I reached out to Konya.
Thank you so much. And we hope to be able to later on show the video after this meeting, once everything is settled. We have Mehtab, we have Noor, we have Louisa, Alia.
Assalamu alaikum. I am about to head to work, so I did want to offer something. It's called From the Mystic Odes 473. At every instant and from every side resounds the call of love. We are going to sky. Who wants to come with us? We have gone to heaven, we have been the friends of the angels, and now we will go back there, for there is our country. We are higher than heaven, more noble than the angels. Why not go beyond them? Our goal is the supreme majesty. What has the fine pearl to do with the world of dust? Why have you come down here? Take your baggage back. What is this place? Luck is with us. To us is the sacrifice. Like the birds of the sea, men come from the ocean of the soul. Like the birds of the sea, men come from the ocean of the soul. How could this bird born from that sea make his dwelling here? No, we are the pearls from the bosom of the sea. It is there that we dwell. Otherwise, how could the wave succeed to the wave that comes from the soul? The wave named, Am I not your Lord? Has come. It has broken the vessel of the body. And when the vessel is broken, the vision comes back and the union with him.
Thank you, Noor. Mabiha, what I'd like to ask you and what wasn't mentioned in your sort of humility perhaps is Rumi's Heart, the initiative that you started. Do you want to just give us a brief about it?
Okay, sure.
Your baby?
Rumi's Heart. Yeah, like you were saying, Alicia, Shams, wherever Rumi is, Shams is there also. So when I published my book, Shams, Expressions of Love and Healing, this was 20, I think it was 2020, yeah, or 2019. So on the same day that I published the book called Shams, I also held a gathering in my home. It was a very small, intimate gathering. And I called it Rumi's Heart, and kind of dwelled on the name for a bit, and finally came or settled on Rumi's heart, because the heart is where the beloved resides. And I thought, what could be more expansive than that? So yeah, we sat and we sang and did eye gazing and read poetry, um and yeah, the vision or the purpose that I hold for Rumi's heart is for it to be like that one cosmic heartbeat of oneness and love that just kind of ripples out, you know. Um, so yeah, that's a little bit about Rumi's heart. Thank you, Elisa, for putting me on the spot there, but I appreciate the.
But I'd like to further ask you and further put you on the spot or the cross and ask you, how was this? Okay, the book. So you've dedicated it to Shamsita Braze. How did you come to know of, what was the catalyst in bringing the awareness of Jalaluddin Rumi into your life, or Shams?
Hmm. It was the mirror or the catalyst. A friend who came into my life and basically turned my life upside down, and opened my heart to love. and I just was so confused at the time. What is this? And I somehow it came into my consciousness about Rumi and Sham, and that's how I came across Alicia's website as well. I just typed like Rumi Sham relationship or something like that, and in Google, and Alicia's website came up, and I started reading to that, and that was one thing that really helped me make sense of this initiation of sorts, or whatever you can call it. And not sure what else to say here.
Through experience, we naturally become storytellers. There's always something from within that wants to be told, shared, and poetry becomes a means of a glimpse into that inner realm. And as Fethullah Gulen, a mystic and a master of the heart, he said something more or less that, the poet, once you basically release your poetry, you just basically, you did an expose of yourself, and can't really take much back. So, yeah. So there's always a telling happening through art in itself, more explicitly, maybe even through poetry or the written word. Because images can still camouflage a lot, and the poetry is almost like a weak attempt to actually tell the inner happenings. But yeah, some are successful at doing so. Maria, I'm just curious because, you shared some of the images, the files from your artwork. Are those your artworks?
Yeah, those are mine.
Right. So very thematic with today's theme. You have the dervishes and so forth. So would love to get an idea of the inspiration behind your works. And I'm going to try to share the screen to see if they can be seen. Never done that through chat, so feel free to speak and I'll just try.
So I think everyone, and whenever, someone connects to the heart and connects to the love, either it's for human being or a passion or love for the divine, love for God, love for Allah, Rumi is there. And my inspiration started as I was very small when I used to whirl a lot, you know, as a child, I used to, and I see that the whole thing gets invisible later on, you know, when you whirl for a long time. And that was my first experience, and I had no idea as a child what is this and why I feel like so happy, so fulfilled later on. So this Darvish dance, first time I witnessed in UAE. I was in Abu Dhabi for a long time. I lived my life actually there, I would say. And I got curious that time. What is actually this? This is something which we used to do as children, and it was something which connects me to everything, you know, my happiness, my joy, and it was kind of a game. And then I got to know about Darvish dance and the whole thing, and I bought the books about Rumi in English, in Urdu, and then I found it stays a lot to get, you know, the knowledge and all, and it started with that. And that's kind of opening of my heart for the love. And I felt it for first time, quite like in my early 40s, for somebody, you know, that exactly somebody came into my life, you know, I was married and somebody showed up. And from that feeling of, you know, it was very intense. I would say it was a very intense kind of opening up, and it changed my life, my whole persona, even, you know, my relationship, my marriage, my kids, everything has changed. And but somehow it put me on a path of the faith and of the service, and on the art as well, you know. As an artist, I was there for long, doing so many things. Then when I started painting this Darvish, and that was more fulfilling. I felt like I can show something, you know, which is in my heart in these paintings. The movement, the layers, colors, everything. It's kind of very, very phenomenal experience for me. And yeah, and still, you know, I want to go further into this, further into this. For that's why I asked Madiha to add me to the, you know, Zoom call today, because I have been into different stages of the healing and reaching to somewhere, you know, what is I have no idea what is destined for me, but there's a lot happened and happening, and I see I'm on a path, and it's getting clear day by day, and I'm in the path of the truth, of the unity, on the oneness, and definitely art is a medium for me, right? Because I don't write, I don't do poetry, and art is the only thing which expresses everything. Yeah.
Thank you so much for being so transparent and equally vulnerable, and just out there sharing rawness with us. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Let's see. We have, you know, Noor, we have Mehtab, we have Louisa. We'd love to just hear anything, you know, what, how were you brought to the awareness of Jalaluddin Rumi apart from a quote on social media kind of thing? How has Rumi become a personalized entity with your heart? What was that brought you? Yes, you, Mehtab.
I would say that it was, I will start from the beginning. Like in my childhood, there was this, one of my guests came to our house and he said, and he was very intelligent, a very sweet personality. And he said, after all the discussion, he said, "Do you like poetry?" And I was like, "Ew, poetry is for losers." You know, that was me when I was in second grade or third grade, probably. And then we see a lot of, there are a lot of incidences that take place in our life and we transition from one person to another. So then it was in my bachelor's that my friend has chosen to read 40 Rules of Love by Elif Shafak. And in that, there's a story within story, and she unfolds the story of Maulana Jalaluddin Rumi with Shams. And it's full of mystery. And as students, we try to intellectualize things, but the answers don't come. And so we see the Shams and Rumi became our part of everyday conversation between me and my friend. And then we even started, you know, she called me Shams and I called her Rumi. And that was a personalized experience. And then I knew that was always looking for my Shams very strongly and very deeply, because a lot of the questions were unanswered. And then it led to several years after the now I found my Shams, and it was beautiful, and it's still a journey. But I knew in my heart, even though I was initiated in the Naqshbandi order, I always had affiliation with Maulana Jalaluddin Rumi, always, because, and then even that door opened, and we have the Rumis, and the door opened through Sayyida Alisha, my Shams, then the Fatimi Shams, and it's like the whole journey is like doors within doors and doors. But the conquest and the inner desire has always been to seek the Shams, and it's still a journey and a process. And Rumi remains the eternal guide, ever living, ever present guide. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing. Alia, would you like to share anything?
I'm not sure I have a poetry, but I can uh share my experience when I started looking at the Sufis poetry, especially under Rumi. There was like, I think, more than 20, if I'm not wrong, it was more than 20 years ago. Um, I've read the I just read through like a couple of poems, but the one that I really like, it's something to do with the polishing of the mirrors. And it speaks to me in a way that what do you call that? If one wants to know yourself, you really need to keep polishing every single day. And then it's like you are a rough diamond, but then you have to, find ways to know yourself and keep looking at yourself in the mirror, keep polishing yourself until you find what you are looking for. So considering I'm still not there, but
I'm still in my journey. So sometimes you may be backtracked, which is normal, but you still have to come back and keep polishing.
Thank you so much. And yes, there's no completion. It's an ongoing process for everyone. I believe, Noor, you've gone to work, right? So not sure if you're going to be able to say anything. And don't know about Louisa, if you're able to share something with us. So whoever can unmute.
I can share. I think there's been several instances where kind of Rumi's presence has seeped into my life, but I think the first and most powerful one was, or not most powerful one, but the first one that kind of established him in my life was when I was around 19 and I was traveling in Thailand at the time, and I was doing some yoga courses there, and I think it was part of one retreat that the retreat leader was reading Rumi poems, and I was really drawn to that. And then I got like a pirated copy of one of his books, and that became like super important. And I had that with me for the whole journey, and very torn and worn. And I think I even got like a few for my friends. And since then, it kind of just stayed. I think a few years later, I, was looking for his books at an antique shop, and I found a few, and then even a few years later, when I was living in the ashram of one of my yoga teachers, I came into contact with the sama and some other practices, and then yeah, of course, different variations of the mirroring effect, the Shams Rumi phenomena, as well, as some people have already mentioned. I think there's always that yearning for that kind of mirroring and that kind of transcendental love. And really, yeah, it feels like it's a story that's so easy to relate to, the story of throwing your books on the fire, or having someone throw your books on the fire, whether it's literal or not. I mean, I think everyone knows some moment of life when everything gets kind of turned upside down, and you have to rebuild yourself from another perspective. And I think the pain and the acceptance of pain as part of life and part of love, that's something makes it very humane, the love that's in Rumi's poems. For example, if I compare to Hafiz, I often feel there's a lightness, whereas with Rumi, I often feel there's always the pain accompanying the love. And yeah, I guess that is how it is. There's never love without longing, and longing necessitates some form of pain, I guess. I don't know if there's much more to say about, my relationship with Rumi. He's just a wonderful guide and companion on the road. And I'm just so grateful that, I've only read so little of all his works. And, inshallah, one day I'm aiming to learn Persian, and I'll be able to also tap into more poetry than just the English translations. Yeah, thank you.
Basically, it's a nice little roundup. And Noor and May, I know May, you said what you had to, and really appreciate your sharings. And if there's anything anybody wants to say or state, please do so.
I'd like to share something I wrote last night. I wasn't really intending to share it today, but after listening to Louisa, I feel a bit more courageous to be a little vulnerable. Okay. Beloved, I don't know what I could possibly say that you haven't already said before, more beautifully than I ever could. I only bring my empty-handedness, palms open in prayer. Instead of giving, I am ashamed that I have come to receive. I ask if you could please fill the emptiness that is me, but I have a feeling you may tell me to become even more empty, or even throw me into the fire like your friend did to your books, and then wait till I am fully cooked into some kind of stew, and longer still until I am burnt. And then what? What is the destiny of someone like me, who longs to get a taste of that sacred honey? Is it the moon's destiny to burn ablaze like the sun? What is the point of becoming sugar when you long to taste sweetness on your tongue? I guess what I'm trying to say is, I just want to be a moon making love to the sun. You know how it goes, the story of the moth and the flame, but without getting burnt. I just want to be close to Shams, and for Shams to be close to me, to never leave Shams, and Shams to never leave me. I know I sound needy, but I think you might understand, and perhaps forgive me for my brutal honesty. I only want Shams, and dare I say, for Shams to want me. Yes, it's true. It's true. I'm asking you to rewrite the poem of my destiny.
Thank you so much, Divaan. Hopefully we could access your book soon, which is a combination of poems and photography, and dedication to Shams. Just recently, I was inspired to, unlike the usual, compose a poem. It was like a prayer of istighasa, or a prayer of seeking, from Jalaluddin Rumi, as the days were coming more near. And I just want to say that I would like to share it, but it's almost like I've told my story so many times that I'm just questioning myself. Do I share a bit of my story before sharing the last video? Or do we just go to the video? Because probably all of you have heard the story, so I don't know.
We want to hear because it takes different color in different states.
Sure. I guess, yeah, I could do so. In regards to the whole going around the Zoom table as to, you know, how Rumi sort of unveiled himself to each one of us, this sort of conscious understanding, which is, again, it's so finite because this is all subjective to how we are perceiving, but we connect dots on the path, which is basically a way for us to understand or see our story from a bird's eye view. And in my sort of reflective processes of how and what and the W's, you know, I kind of put together a true story, and it's true because it's true to me. It's not necessarily true to the collective. It's just my personal experience, and I would love to just briefly share. As far as the earliest sort of clues that were coming, were, for example, in grade 1, I was in Dhahran in Saudi Arabia going to school here. And I remember for my birthday, the librarian gifted me a book for my birthday, and she signed it with the birth date and whatnot. And it was called Mitchell's Moving. You can actually look it up. It's a story of 2 dinosaurs, and they were best friends. I had no clue, you know, what their gender was, and it was just a very dear to me story. I got it as a gift, and that was it. But the story was about 2 dinosaur friends, and they lived, they lived together. And one of them, Mitchell, basically said, "I'm sick of, you know, the same old walls and the same old roof and the same old everything. I'm moving." And he or she kept repeating that until finally he said, "I'm gone. I'm going to be leaving." And Margot, the one who didn't move, was basically witnessing this best friend, this, I don't know, this whatever, best friend, let's say, because in a child's world, that's how we see it. Best friends. We're not looking at things as lovers or other relationships and whatnot. So this Mitchell finally moves 2 weeks away, and then what happened was, on the way, Mitchell is writing letters to Margot, and there was an exchange because there was longing, right? And finally, when Mitchell moves, she sets up the house and builds this house, and now it's like there's nobody there. And then finally, you know, whatever time passes, and Margot ends up moving, and happily ever after. That was just one clue on the path. Fast forward the next year, after I, you know, leave Saudi Arabia, I'm longing for this sister that apparently I had a sister who passed away in Dhahran. And I never really got to know her. I didn't really understand death, so it never really processed. And now in grade 2, the trend was Cabbage Patch dolls, and it's like you had to have one. It's like you had to have this doll. And big lineups, got this Cabbage Patch finally in my hands. And apparently Cabbage Patches came with a birth certificate. So the birth certificate for mine, which was pure coincidence because you don't get to choose your doll, you just get the doll. And the name of this Cabbage Patch was Alicia. So I was just head over heels. I was like, oh, you know, and I remember I would pray for this doll to come to life and whatnot. And she'd go with me everywhere. And that was that. Fast forward, like 2 decades later, I moved back to Saudi Arabia, right? Where all the drama was sort of starting up. I moved back here, kind of like, you know, bored with everything, you know, and just just probably seeking something deeper. I end up at this event that this person on the phone that I talked to as I was seeking a school for my kids, and this principal picks it up and she's like, oh, please come to our private opening event, and I'd love to meet you and see you there and whatnot. So I end up going literally blindfoldedly, thinking I'm going for the school. And as I'm sitting, in the function, I'm just like, who is this person? And I was just like really mesmerized. I was even telling like my family, I'm like, oh, that's definitely some princess. And there's something very like majestic. There's this massive auric field, and this is not something I would normally do, but that's what was happening. And then when the event was over, I was like, okay, where is this person? Where is this person I'm supposed to meet? The principal. And it happened to be that same person, but I never figured anything out consciously. We, anyways, we became friends, and I realized that, oh my God, she's like literally like exposing myself to myself. And there's a lot of mirror work that was happening that I honestly didn't know. And at that time, someone gave me a book, a gift. It was actually my husband. He gave me a book called The Shams Rumi Phenomena. Picked it up from some airport and was like, okay, give it to her. She likes this stuff. And as I was reading the book, The Radical Practices of Rumi, I'm like, oh my God, like what's happening in the book? I'm like, this is happening. You're like Shams. And she's like, you're like Rumi. And that's all it was. It's just like all jokes, but there's something alchemically happening. And I was getting more aware of, I don't know, like parts of me that I never knew. And so that was that. And so with that meeting, this friend, this mentor, this dost, this beautiful person, like an all-in-one kind of thing, I started writing a lot of poetry, and I was sharing it with the whole world, right? There's nothing to hide. Like you're just enamored by this beautiful presence in your life that's showing you to you. And so I was happily sharing the story, and then, a little bit later into the whole thing, the disappearance factor had to come into place. And yeah, so this person had to disappear, and that made me go wacko, right? And that's when a lot of my poems started outpouring. And I think a couple of years later, I came to an understanding, apparently, that, nobody ever disappears. There are no goodbyes, because as long as you remember, you're not separated. And if you're in the presence of your loved ones and you don't remember, then you're not ever connected anyways. So I was healed after like 4 years. Apparently my heart was healed. It was a pretty big sort of wound. And I'm sure it's relatable to everyone here, plus minus. And so, yeah, and at that time I was doing poetry. There was, artworks happening just on a subtle level. And then it just, there was no sort of end to it. And when this person disappeared, the Shams person, something was told to me, like literally, like, go look up your birthday. And this is like my only bragging point. So I looked it up and I looked up my Hijri birthday, which I don't think I ever bothered to before. And I found out that the Hijri birthday of Maulana Rumi was the same as mine, or I'm the same as his birthday. So that was interesting. I was never formally initiated into the Mevlevi order. That actually happened as well. In Mecca, there was a Mevlevi sheikh who I'd seen in a dream, and I was being called and summoned to, take initiation with this Mevlevi sheikh, and I actually knew him in the sense virtually. I knew of him. I messaged him and I said, would you accept an initiation from me, or this initiation if it came through dream? He said, by all means, this is also a reality. And so I was informally, or I don't know if informal is the right word, but I was initiated. But fast forward, in Mecca, I was asked to come and take a physical initiation, and this was totally unplanned, and happened that that the date was the 6th of Rabiul Awwal, same date as my supposed birthday, and the same date as Molana's birthday. So I was physically reinitiated, and so now it's just like a whole sort of like, you know, the bubble has burst. There's nothing really to tell. It's just now you're just sort of aligned. There's so much more alignment to be happening. I understand that. I'm not claiming to be aligned, but it's a process, and the mirrors keep coming, and there is no ultimate one, Shams, to be quite frank. That was my personal understanding, and so this path is a path of mirrors, and we are constantly meeting ourselves when we meet the other, and we are just experiencing ourselves, and that's basically what it has come to. And now we have this Divaan where we share our experiences. So the path of poetry, the path of movement or whirling has also opened up. The path of artistic expression through various forms of art within our space has opened up, and we get to witness that and share and so forth. So yeah, so that's basically it. That's basically it in a nutshell. I would like to share as a closing a dua that our beloved friend Dost May was so generous and kind to recite this, which I had no clue. I had asked her if she could, but she already had done it at the maqam of Jalaluddin Rumi. So I'd like to share that as a closing, and we could, inshallah, close off on today's Urs celebration with this. Just, do we have the poem within the chat, Mehta? Yeah, for everyone. Everyone can view it, and the recital is by May Sartawi.
Maulana is the ultimate trauma healer, love dealer, psychologist, therapist, somatic sun sign, biggest teddy bear, love dog, master, the shadow of God, the soul spirit, the magician, alchemist, the guide for the lost, broken, and ruined, the friend of God who resides in our hearts, the witness, the one who facilitates the path of the ghost, the one who gazed upon souls and cares through his elect ones, the transmitter, the pacifist, the one who activated the Jama. Bismillah, may our Master have mercy upon us, upon this Divaan, upon our brokenness and weakness. May He grace us through the channeling of divine love and love codes, and be the sabab or nishid to our healing, so that we become love, supreme and embodied, and dressed in divine attributes, to reawaken the Muhammadan reality within us, within all. Ameen. We love you, our Master, our guide, our murshid. We love you through the face of the one who have taken us in, Ya Hadrat Shaykh Nazim Madad Qaddas al-Azim. Verily, it's from your Divaan that you orchestrated our experience. It is from your Divaan that you orchestrated our experience in the path of the Dost, and continue to do so. So, to be awakened in the most formidable way to ourselves, and Fatiha upon Hadrat Shams al-Tabrizi, the opener of the inner heart. We ask for madad, we ask for care, we ask for gentle, loving care, as love has destroyed us in ways you know well. We trust, we listen, we obey, we serve. In this Divaan, love is the way. Your eyes upon us, I am your servant seeking at your door. Do not deny us, do not deny us, do not deny us. Salamun, Fatihun, Alimun, Halimun, Wajudun, Shafi'un, بحرمة محمد المصطفى وفاطمة الزهراء وأولادها وآلها. فاتحة الشريف. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين يا هو
Thank you so much, May, and thank you, everybody. We thank Allah for bringing us together, and we thank the grace of His elect ones, and we hope to be in that grace. Ameen. So until next time, we have our Divan, which is next month. This would be concluding the December Divan because of Christmas, and we shall resume in January on the last Saturday of the month. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.